Photography's been a really big part of my life for over 10 years now. And one of the ways that I've kept my work fresh and kind of avoided burnout is by taking the time to make personal work and do personal projects. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. When I first got serious about photography, my main focus was on street photography. I would take my camera to work every day, and on my lunch break, I would go out and take pictures. At the end of the workday, I would hop on the train, get off at a random stop, and walk around for a couple of hours taking more pictures before going home. At the time, I really didn't have any direction. I was just enjoying taking photos for the sake of it. When I started photographing live music, there was a bit of a learning curve to get used to the settings that were necessary in such a drastically different environment than what I was used to. But one thing that I felt carried over from my street photography was my sense of timing. And I think that's because both styles of photography require a sensitivity to your environment. Street photography and music photography both have multiple variables that are out of your control, but you have to be able to adapt to them on the fly and make the best of it. So with street photography, that could be the weather, that could be traffic or crowds. And with music photography, every venue is different, every show is different, every crowd is different. You are honing a similar skill in both situations. A couple of years before I got into music photography, I was feeling a bit stuck and uninspired. So I went to a bookstore and I picked up this photography magazine that had an article with a bunch of different photo project ideas. I was on a tight budget, so I needed something that I could do without needing to buy any additional gear and at no additional cost, basically. And something that piqued my interest was a camera panning technique. The idea was that you would go to a location, set your camera on a tripod, and then during a long exposure, you would move your camera. And this would create abstract streaks of color that fill the frame. I thought it was a unique take on photography. I thought it was something interesting. At the time, I hadn't seen it before. I also was curious to see how the technique would work in a city, since a lot of the examples in the magazine were at the beach or in the woods or in a forest. So I grabbed my gear, I grabbed my tripod, and I went out and tried it. And I got a couple of shots that I really enjoyed. The next time I went out, I forgot my tripod. And instead of just saying I'll do it next time, I decided to try doing the camera panning freehand. I couldn't replicate the smoothness of the tripod, so I just leaned into it even more and started doing more chaotic movements and more randomized movements. And I ended up liking those results a lot more than the ones that I did with the tripod. So that became the way I always did it from that point forward. After a while, I started going to different locations and making different abstracts in different neighborhoods. And this is where Abstract NYC was born. I named each piece after the neighborhood where I took it. As the project went on, I experimented with the settings until I got something that I felt gave me consistent results. And that kind of became the standard for me for the duration of the project. I ended up making 120 different abstracts over the course of 3 years. And it was a ton of fun to do. Abstract NYC actually got a bit of recognition. It was featured in the art blog But Does It Float? Adobe reached out to me and licensed it for box art for one of their programs. Royal Caribbean reached out and licensed a couple of images for use on their cruise ship Harmony of the Seas. Even Apple reached out to me at one point, but that one fell through. Popular Photography did a piece about me and the project, and it was the first time I had ever been in print like that, so that was really exciting. The project also had the added side effect of making me more comfortable with trying slow shutter speeds at concerts. I don't do it all that often, but if the mood hits me, I'll try some shutter dragging, and I've gotten some photos that I really like. Abstract NYC ended up being a full-blown project, and it kind of all came together organically, but not all of my work takes the same path. And that's okay. When I was first starting out, I really loved seeing the city in the rain at night, so I would go out and photograph wet pavement. I love reflections and distortions, so I've done several pictures that feature that. During lockdown, I would go to the park and take pictures of the surface of the lake. And all these things I just have a handful of pictures of, but they're fun to do. And I feel like it makes me a better photographer. I don't know if I'll ever have enough work in any of those categories to make an exhibition or a book. But for now, I'm just enjoying exploring something that I like and finding new things to love about photography. That's kind of it. I just wanted to talk about the things that I've been working on and have worked on in the past and show that you don't just have to do the one thing that you do for work. I'd encourage you to try and do some other things just for you. And you'll be surprised at how often those things will contribute to your abilities out in the field for assignments. At least that's how it's been for me. If you have projects that you're working on that you'd like to share, let me know. I think that's going to do it for me. I don't know what the next one's going to be or when it's going to be, but it's been fun making these, and I hope to keep doing it for a while. So I will see you in the next one. Take care.